In early 2012, we took on a project to rebuild the Museum of London's Exploring 20th Century London website. The website had to integrate with Collections Trust CultureGrid. So what is Collections Trust CultureGrid?
CultureGrid is a unique online service from Collections Trust, joining and opening up UK collections for more use by more people in more ways. It's key to the Trust promoting excellence in collections and their aim to help organisations share their collections online safely and sustainably. It fits in with UK open data initiatives for the public and higher education sectors and funder strategies and programmes from Arts Council England, Heritage Lottery Fund and others. CultureGrid contains collections information of all kinds and makes this more easily accessible to everyone through various mobile and social media applications, web applications, open government services, search engines and broadcasters. The easiest way to use CultureGrid is via the search box builder they provide. This presents a simple way of presenting custom searches on your website. There's also an API which is Solr and SRU based, and this can be used to build applications also. For exploring 20th century London, we used OAI-PMH, the Open Archives Initiative protocol for metadata harvesting.
We rebuilt the website in an open source content management system called Drupal. Drupal allows site builders and website developers to create websites using a powerful core which is supplemented by a series of modules. Many of the modules are called contributed modules, and they've been created by the many developers who contribute to the Drupal project. If a website requires custom functionality beyond this, then developers are able to create their own custom modules, and this is what we did to create the integration between the website and Collections Trust CultureGrid. In an ideal world, all custom modules that are developed would be released back into the open source community. Museum of London were keen also that the cultural sector as a whole, or anybody else who wanted to integrate with CultureGrid, should also be able to benefit from the module that was created for their project. So they were happy for us to contribute this module back into the open source community as well. And this video explains how we created a module that could be used by anybody and the processes we're going to make that available for anybody to use, as well as hopefully making this module one that will become a contributed module available for anybody to download from Drupal.org. So here we're looking at a vanilla install of Drupal, and if I click on the modules link and show the modules that are enabled, if you scroll down you'll see that there's no actual reference at the moment to the CultureGrid module that we've created, which is called the Harvester. You'd expect to see any custom modules listed here, just above where all other modules are listed. The process of getting a custom module listed on Drupal.org as a contributed module is quite an involved one, and we're currently working through that process. In the meantime, our module is downloadable from GitHub. I've downloaded that module from GitHub and put it on my desktop. If I open up the folder, you'll see all the various files that make up that module. What I'm now going to do is FTP those files up to the area where my Drupal install lives. The documentation that's included within the module will show you exactly where you need to FTP these files to. If I then refresh my modules page and scroll down to where the other modules were, you'll see that just above that there's a new section now called Miggle for this custom module, and if I click on enable, I can enable that module and save that configuration so that it's now available as a module to use within Drupal. The enabling of the module creates a content type called CultureGrid. When data is harvested from CultureGrid, it's into this content type that it is all input. We'll now have a look at what's actually included in that content type. So we go to Structure, Content Types, find the CultureGrid object that's been created, click on Manage Fields, and there you can see the list of fields, these fields being the ones that are part of the actual definition of the data structure within CultureGrid. So for example, you can see object name at the top. You can also see other things relating to objects like material, size, copyright and the URL. Now that we've got the module installed, we can go and harvest some data from the grid. Because this is a vanilla install of Drupal, if I click on content, you'll see that there's actually no content available currently on the site. I now click on Configuration. Under the Content Authoring section, there's a link for Harvester settings. In this, I can enter the email address into which I want all Harvester reports to be sent. I can also specify how often I want the data to be pulled, but I'm leaving that blank for the moment. And then I select the museums or libraries or archives from which I want to pull information from the grid. I can select one or as many as I like. And then once I'm done, I just save my changes. The harvester actually runs off a cron job, and that cron job is specified by the timing settings that I left blank. So if I want to see data initially, then I'd have to manually run cron to actually be able to get content to appear. Currently you'll see there's no content available because I actually haven't run that cron process yet. However, if I cut and paste the cron URL into the browser window and then go back to the content, once that's run, you'll see that I've got a list of all of the objects available from that museum that I selected. If we click on one of these, you'll see how it appears as a page in a vanilla Drupal install. What we're seeing here is a content node which is related to the CultureGrid content type. What the module doesn't do is format the data any neater than that. That would obviously be the job of your Drupal themer, who would create a template in which they could use that data within the content type to create a page in whichever layout they chose. Right now we've gone in and edited that page that we were just viewing at, and you can see the specific data within the back end for that particular content node. So now the data is harvested, we just need to be able to use the power of Drupal to manipulate it. We're going to show you how we did that with the Exploring 20th Century London website. The website is a partnership project of 19 London museums, libraries and archives, led by the Museum of London. The website aims to inform users about the history of London during the 20th century. It does this for approximately 10,000 museum objects and over 400 pages of information about London, its people, places and numerous related subjects.
The site organises information about London under three main areas: a timeline page where information is listed by decade, a themes page where information is listed under a number of distinct themes, and a places page where information is listed depending on what London borough it occurred in. Here on the 1940s page under the timeline, you can see how an information record has other related information related to it, organisations, events and subjects. That then links the user onto other information records.
If we do a search, here you can see we're doing a search on Winston Churchill, you'll see that the results are filterable by a number of facets down the left hand side.
Search can be narrowed down by the three main areas we looked at earlier: themes, organisations and timelines, but also by particular objects or by the organisation that provided that object. Here we're looking at objects provided by the Redbridge Museum that match the Winston Churchill search, and as you can see there are three of them. If we now click through onto one of the objects, the Winston Churchill election poster, you'll see that that object page carries a logo from the institution that provided the object, the Redbridge Museum Service. Also, you can click on the thumbnail of the object to get an enlarged picture. In the top right hand corner there's a module that actually displays each of the results that we had in the previous search page so that you can browse through to them and then click onto that relevant object as well. Each of the information records, be they timeline, themes, places, organisations or events, have objects that are related to them. Here, looking at the leisure theme, we can see the objects listed down the left hand side. These are the feature objects that have been editorially chosen by the Museum of London to appear on this page. By clicking on View All Related Objects, we get a canned search where the search is filtered by the facet Leisure, which then shows all of the results. You can see there are just over 2,000 of them here, and if we click through to one of the results, you'll see that the object browser in the top right hand corner lists the identical number of object results that appeared in that search.
Here in the back end of 20th century London, you can see how we've used the data that we've harvested to create a search index that can be used by Solr to power the search. Of course, once the data is harvested, you can use it with pretty much any module you like. This example here shows how we've taken harvested data and written quizzes around it by associating questions with objects using the quiz module. And finally, each time the harvester runs, you can go into the back end and have a look at a report that will tell you all about the objects that have been imported. These reports can also be emailed to you in the address that you configured in the settings.
If you'd like to find out more about how Miggle are using Drupal 7 to interface with CultureGrid, then do feel free to drop us a line. You can contact us via email at info@miggle.co.uk, by telephone on 0800 043 6443, and you can find plenty more information on our website www.miggle.co.uk. Thanks very much for watching. Hope it's been useful.